Illinois. What family I left behind was my mother and two brothers and my dad. My occupation just before the service was I worked in a factory making war parts, but it didn't last too long because my 18th birthday came around and goodbye, Carl. Siblings, no. Did I have any other family members that joined the service? No, just my brothers. And my occupation, I was in a machine shop and made parts and stuff that went to the Navy, but I wasn't there very long. My family and friends gave me a big party, and everybody seemed very pleased that I made the grade to get in the service and do my part. To the next day, the early days of service. You want some of that?
Yeah.
I went from being a civilian, I was sent to Camp Grant, Illinois. This was another replacement center. That's where all the new draftees went and were issued their uniform, got a haircut, and from there we were shipped for basic training to Jefferson Barracks, Missouri. There we were trained in all the military things that you do in marching and learning how to use guns and things. It was very interesting. It was also very hot. That lasted from May until September, which is a long session of basic training. But I was 126 pounds when I took my physical. When I got through with physics, with the physical training and eating, believe it or not, I ate Army food and liked it. I weighed 152 pounds, and I was quite strong. Were able to handle myself. We still didn't know what. I was in the Air Force, and the training we had qualified just in case a Japanese or other people would try to get your base. You could take your share of yourself. But that never happened. All the bases I went to were quite a ways away from fighting. I qualified for the Army Specialized Training Program, and that was the training there was college at Cornell College, Iowa. I was trying to be an engineer, to build bridges and different things like that, so soldiers could get across or whatever they had to do. And it was the bad feature was it was a liberal arts school. I went to Lane Tech High School in Chicago and took both college preparatory and the Smith Hughes course at that time, and I learned all the good things that you can get in college, and also I learned how to do things with machinery, both of them. I didn't have any spare time, and it made me very high in the intelligence quotient that the Army had, or I guess it was the Army and the Navy, and everybody, and qualified for the school. So I did not like. I had enough schooling, and they sent me out to Fort Logan, Colorado, and they taught me how to type. They thought better that he learned to type than to shoot himself in the foot sometime. But I would never have done it. But it was kind of interesting to learn to type in about 3 months from not knowing what a typewriter was. But we learned and spent many hours learning to type. And I was shipped from there to Grand Island, Nebraska, which was a B-17 base. Those fellas that were training there in the B-17s, that was operational training. They went from there right to Europe. And I had the job of making wills for these men. Now, this will sober you up about the war and seeing these fellas. There was no laughing. They made wills. They knew where they were going. And we did a good job for them. You could not make any strikeovers or anything. Everything had to be perfect. And I was there for a while, and a teletype came in and said they're looking for 2 men to go into a wet, windy, cold area, and you got 21 days to get there. But we want volunteers. Hey, 21 days of delay en route meant I had 3 weeks at home before I had to show up at the replacement depot, Greensboro, North Carolina. And that's from there. I did not go to India. I did not go to Europe. I went to India, and I still had the same job, and it was good. It was good. I would not go back. I like home better. It was a very hot, very stinky place. But the Indians were our friends. There were some British there, but I never saw them. And there was fighting in Burma, and there was the Japs invaded India. When my boat landed in Bombay, the Japs tried to come in there, but the Indians and the Gurkhas and them and our men kicked the Japs out back into Burma. Some of the men had to stay in Burma and fight, but not me. I was in the headquarters of the in India, in the how do you explain it? I was just had my job and I enjoyed it. It was India Burma Theater headquarters. That's where the generals stayed. So you know that was a little better place than other places. I slept in a tent for a year and a half, but they were British tents, and they were at least 20 degrees cooler in this 220 degree heat than American tents. So we were not that uncomfortable. But that's, after that, I just did my job every day, sent guys where we needed it. I got the morning reports from the different units. Some guys died from disease, some accidents. The British drive on the wrong side of the road, and sometimes there was a little conflict about which side you're going to be on. and they had accidents, and I just I had made good friends. We were a unit, and we had WAC, so everything I had done, the WAC could have done. But I was their boss, and I had 5. They were not girls, they were ladies, and terrific, wonderful people. And I was only sick one time, and I thought I was dying, but I didn't. I didn't die. I'm here. I had some kind of disease from. Well, if you're in India, you got a good chance of catching something. And then the war was over, and back home we come, but I didn't come back home on the Pacific. The ship we had going overseas couldn't land in Calcutta, it's too big. But the one we took coming back home was smaller, and it's going out of Calcutta, and we did not go to the Pacific. We went south and went across the Indian Ocean, and believe it or not, we went through the Suez Canal and saw Gibraltar, and the next thing we saw was a grand lady, the Statue of Liberty, and we were home. And it was 26 days getting back there. So I had 58 days on the water, and I think there was some people that were in the airplanes never got that much water on them. It was a lot of ocean out there. And interesting. And another train ride to Camp McCoy, and there we got our official discharge and got our pay, extra pay for being overseas. Believe it or not, you accumulated vacation time, which I didn't know that happened, but I think I had 2 weeks vacation coming, and I was making $106 a month. So I came out real good. It didn't take long to spend it. And of course, then another train ride to Chicago, and met my wife, my girlfriend at the time. I went to see her very quickly. I saw my mom and dad. I said, I'll see you. And I went to see my girl, because that's the one I wrote. She saved the letters I wrote during that time, over 300 letters, because I got 300. And war was over, wedding bells, and it wasn't too long, rock-a-bye baby. And if all the guys would have had a life like I had in the service, we would have been very lucky. I considered myself very lucky. If I'd have stayed at ASTP in the college, I would have wound up fighting in Europe. Instead, none of my doing. They just canceled the program. They needed men, and they took all of the ASTP guys, and these was a lot of them. They went through a lot of colleges. All of them went into the infantry, and that was not a nice place to be. And that's all the good stuff I remember. There wasn't that much bad stuff. Glad to be back in Illinois, I know that. But I saw a lot of the United States and a lot of the world. I almost answered a lot of those questions
Did you?
already.
Okay. Let's see.
Got Staff Sergeant just when I was overseas.
Okay. How about this?
How did you handle the switch of your mindset? I was still the same person when I came back to run over. Remember, I was 18 when you went in. There was a lot of sailors, a lot of soldiers that were my age that were in combat. So I was very fortunate that things worked out for me. What have I been doing since? Well, jobs were scarce when I got discharged. There weren't any jobs. They had a 52-20 club, which meant that you got $20 a month or a week, whatever it was. It wasn't very much. And I finally found a job with the Veterans Administration, and my background, I fit right in with them. I worked in the dental service administratively, and enjoyed that work for 3 years until I asked for a raise. And they said, "You are in the highest grade we've got," because I was listed as a clerk typist. Instead, I wound up being supervisor for about 130 people. A lot of them colored, had no problems. Just they did their job, and I was well liked. But when I asked for the raise, they said you'd have to have college to go higher, and that turned me off. I had no college. I got a job with the trucking business and climbed the ladder there until I was the third man and the highest in the company, and was Midwest. I was a regional manager, which included 32 states, plus running the Chicago terminal. And I worked, but I made some money. And my wife and I, we had 4 boys, and there, 2 of them are gone, and one is right here in this place. Had an automobile accident, and he's never recovered. He's still in a nursing home, and this is quite a few years now. And wife got sick, and we moved to this beautiful place here. And because we came here, the wife got sick, and we got my son. He is right over there. And so we just walk across this gazebo and turn left, and there he is. And that's where he'll die. He was badly injured. And now I've got to get my wife well, but these are places for people that I had a little money, but not enough to pay for this. So I think we spent some time in we call them where you're on, the state is paying some of your bills, and we've enjoyed ourselves. If you'd have heard us out here, were you out there?
I heard.
Yeah. We celebrated our 70th anniversary, and my wife celebrated her 90th birthday, and we had all of our friends and relatives in for a party yesterday, and we had a cake as big as a table, and we shared that cake with. That was yesterday. Was the party? It was friends and relatives, about 100 of them, and we had a cake made by Walmart. We brought that over here today because we have made many friends here, and so we all had good cake again. And that is up to now, that's been our life. I'm a fisherman, but financially I could no longer afford a car, and you gotta have, if you're gonna be a fisherman, you've gotta have a car. And so I gave my car to my son, the one in Missouri, who has had a hard time financially. He's a hard worker, but it just don't work out for him. And so he's got the car, and he says, "It's running good, Dad." I says, "I'm glad to hear that. Get out of here."
Okay.
He's not a fisherman. Do you recall the day your service ended? Yes, very well. When we got through coming across the Atlantic and coming back to Illinois, went to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin, and in this big hall there were several hundred of us, and they wanted volunteers to join the active reserve, or they had a name for something. Whatever it meant you'd be back in the army again, not the same way. Not one single hand went up. We were going home. I expect somewhere there was a lot of people did join again, especially if you had rank. Officers, they loved that. They made money. But you had to go once a year or whatever it was for 2 weeks for more training. None of that would have appealed to me. I had a job then, and I would not. I don't know if I would, if a war started, if I would volunteer. I think I'd wait, let them come to me. Do you use military benefits? No. I worked too many hours every day with 4 kids. I had no time to join the VFW or the American Legion, although I appreciate the organizations. They actually sent me $10 a week ago for Veterans Day from the American Legion here in Litchfield, which was very nice of them because it came in very handy. Because being here, my money is being used up, but not. You couldn't ask for if something happens to your hand, like your wife gets sick, and I had to sell my house, and we moved here. That way there was no more housework. Boy, we were a small room we got. I had a house 4,000 square feet. I could seat 17 people in my kitchen. So you can imagine what this feels like. It's but I'm making friends here. It's a good place, and I know the government has to put some money into it too. I'm sure they do. I never ask, No, I am not a joiner of like an Army or Air Corps guy. Those fellas had a closer togetherness in the service. Being shot at will change you some way. And I have seen the parties that they've gone to, and but it was not for me. I was a worker, so.
Okay. All right.
It's just made me proud that I did my job, and I didn't get killed doing it. And I feel for any veteran that was hurt, was crippled, you just can't imagine what they went through. And the guys are doing it now. They may have bigger guns and stuff like that, but it's still the same thing. You can't duck a bullet. So I hope this new president can figure out how to stop that. These people that were fighting, they are not like we are. They are not American at all. It's just, being in India, I could see, what it was there, and they fought. I was there during the riots. It was two religions. They fought each other. It didn't make sense to me, to any of us. And when the riots started, I happened to be in Calcutta, where the worst of it, and I had to leave the Jeep there, and they sent trucks for us and got us out of there. And it's just goofy people. That's like a Catholic and a Protestant fighting. But when you think about it, think of England and Ireland. Same thing.
Yeah.
We don't have that, and I hope our new president can figure out how things can be calmed down. Colored people, I never had a problem with them, and I was a boss over a lot of them. They did their job, and it's just a crazy world. My lessons, my father was a very strict man. I got the spankings if I did something wrong. And I was not close to my father. In the Army, you obeyed orders. My father told me to do something, I obeyed orders. I had no problem that way, and I treated my boys the same way. And all of them turned out, the two that died were from cancer, and the one that's in the nursing home here, he had a really good job until an automobile wreck ruined his life. And the other one, he is a hard worker. About the time he's getting raises and stuff, the plant would close, or the government would buy their stuff somewhere else. He didn't. The money wasn't there.
Yeah.
So About war in general, I know if they attacked us, I would hit them with everything we had right off the bat and wipe them out. Yes, there would be children killed, but when you die, you don't know it. You're gone. It's the people that you leave behind that are the grievers. But when you're dead, you're not there anymore. But I would say to hit them with everything we've got to stop it. I don't know about our new president, but that would be my feeling, is to hit them hard. And we've got Korea to put up with. Now they're armed with stuff, and they are getting close to where they could shoot off one of those rockets. They go to Chicago with it, and there goes Chicago. These are not small bombs; they're big. The military knows what they got, and these idiots could know they know what's going to happen. They don't care. Their minds are different than ours. And so, good luck, Mr. President. Your job is cut out for you. We've got problems here that will straighten out. They haven't always been this way. And maybe he'll do a good job.
Well, I want to thank you for your time and for your service to our country. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't get a chance to talk about that much. We've got our Veterans Club here, about 10 guys, and then instead of talking about our service, we're talking about the things around here and other things, but not service. We just say, I was in the Navy, that was it. You don't hear about being dunked in the water. So it's a nice group. We're good fellas. And they're getting so old. I turned 91 in February, be 92. I never thought I'd live that long.
Wow.
But some people do.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
I hope that the state enjoys reading that.